The permitted use clause spells out specifically how you are authorized and expected to use your space. Basically, what is your business? Landlords are going to want this clause to be as specific as possible. For instance, if we're talking about Sweetgreen, landlords will want that clause to read something like, for a fast casual restaurant specializing in salads for takeaway consumption and no other purpose. Many landlords are focused on merchandising or curating the mix of retailers at a certain project. If they add Sweetgreen to the project because they want a salad place, maybe they have a fried chicken place, an ice cream shop, a burger place, and sushi, so salad fills a niche. Landlord brokers out there are cringing. There is a lot more to merchandising than that, but you get the idea. In that example, if Sweetgreen decides to start selling sandwiches instead, that's really not what the landlord wanted. They're in the mix as a healthy alternative, so you want them to drive a certain customer to the project. If they start selling sandwiches, they could be catering to the same crowd as the burger guy and the fried chicken guy. Even worse, what if Sweetgreen decided to start selling fried chicken instead? It's possible that the other tenant has an exclusive they're now violating, and even if they're not, you really don't need two of the same use at a project. A landlord wouldn't do that on purpose. Or what if Sweetgreen started selling sunglasses? That might be successful at the project, but maybe the landlord wouldn't have wanted to put the sunglass shop on the corner because it doesn't drive foot traffic like Sweetgreen does. So they're going to be pushing for as much control as they can have here and will want this clause to be ultra specific. On the other side of the coin, the tenant will want as broad a permitted use as possible. If you're Sweetgreen, you want the flexibility of not being locked into salads specifically or takeaway only. You want the ability to modify your business to meet demand and maximize your revenue. So there's often a happy medium you can strike here where you agree to operate as a fast casual restaurant specializing in salads, grain bowls, and healthy fare. You can leave it a bit vague like that and still give the landlord the peace of mind that you're going to operate the business you sold to them during the leasing process. In this example, because Sweetgreen is a national chain with lots of locations, they could also reference their other locations and say they'd operate a concept that is substantially similar to all of their others. For Sweetgreen, landlords will often agree to something like that because they're big enough. So let's say Sweetgreen has agreed to this permitted use clause, but actually does want to start selling sunglasses instead. They aren't given permission to do so, so they need to approach the landlord and ask for permission to change their use. It's tough to come back and make changes once a lease has been signed, but not impossible, especially if you have a reasonable landlord and a good reason to change your use, supported by your reasoning. As a tenant, you also want to consider anything unusual about your use and make sure that you're permitted but not required to do that. For instance, if you're a fitness studio and you offer classes starting really early, like 5 a.m., you might want to reference that in your permitted use section. Or maybe you have a spin bike out on the sidewalk, like SoulCycle, where people congregate and take selfies. If these components are critical to your business, it doesn't hurt to include them in the permitted use section of the LOI. There are other places that might cover these concepts, but it doesn't hurt to address them here too.